Viewers, I've got this job I'm doing for someone on an Engel, or Engel as they're called in South Africa. It's been drowned. That's one of the decent models. It's got the purple sticker compressor, and they're the good series of Soho Fuji compressors. It's got a purple sticker. These are the good series of these compressors. A good unit. It's, I think that's a Thai bought model, not a Japanese one. These are all made in Thailand now. You won't find a Japanese made Engel anymore. But you still pay that Japanese made price for something made in Thailand for free, basically. Yeah, made in Thailand. It's a newer one. MT45F G4P, so it's a 45 litre Engel. I think they might have had it in a boat and been drowned, from what I can gather. No rub through, luckily. That's not a good sign. You don't want that to happen. It hasn't rubbed through, but it's rubbed the paint off. That's not a good sign. So I'm going to fix that. It's rubbed through there, yeah. Vibrate in the back of it. That's something you've got to watch out for. Baskets in these fridges. Rub through. This is aluminium, which is hard to bloody solder, this stuff. I like the build quality of these. You clip that off. We can undo the compressor unit from the back, and it all just lifts out. It's a really nice design because you can put this inside a cardboard box, lined with foil and aluminium foil and polystyrene foam board, as it's called, and you can pretty much get creative and make your own little fridge. There, it's alright. I'll have to paint over that. I've got to get some good paint and clean this all up and seal it with paint. But the refrigeration side of it is absolutely fine. It's just this the top board's been drowned and it's burnt one of the pins off in here, and that's killed that. The fan's bearings are welded shut, and now it's just spinning. The actual shaft inside is spinning. Got to get a new fan, replace that board, and go from there. Hopefully the sealed unit with the power supply is not damaged. Well, I've got all the parts are here, so I'll give it a good clean. There's a bloke in my area. He's probably got 1,000 of these. He's got a sheds full of these. Waco's galore, compressors, you name it. He's got parts of these. He's got all sorts of parts. So I'm going to pay him a visit, and hopefully he's got a couple of these in stock. So I've grabbed one of these boards and the fan, because if this is damaged, the whole thing won't work. Everything runs through here. This is a brains, which you set your temperature. This runs the whole outfit. So that I can plug it in and it won't do anything because I need something to talk to communicate. Now he does make what's the Ruoding. He's got his own version of those boards. He makes them up, and it's just a generic thing that works with any old car fridge. Even you can retrofit it to a house fridge even. But basically, I think it's a knockoff of these Ruoding interfaces, except it's made for temperature and made to act as a thermostat, and that controls you can use it on a Waco, your cheap Chinese fridges, Engels, and he retrofits them in here. It's a generic interface, no, just that nice, and they're probably, I think they're about $20 off eBay. And then yeah, they can work on anything. You can make it run through a relay board and put them on a 240 volt thing, and switch 240 volts to switch a relay to turn the compressor on and off. They're pretty universal, but I'm confident this guy's probably going to have the proper Engel ones in stock. There isn't really nothing he hasn't got. He cuts open those compressors and rebuilds them and everything. I got the new base for this from the same guy. The parts for this I got from the same guy, so near lit. Apart from that, I've also got this Hobart to fix for our customer at the cafe, our local cafe. It's a 2014 model, this one, I'm pretty sure. And that was $6 grand. Now these are $8 grand. So they've gone up in that sort of better time by $2 grand. It leaks. They're a nice machine, these Hobarts. German made this one. It just has a persistent leak in the bloody thing. These are in good nick because these always wear out. The Hobart do change these now. These are all plastic, and this is plastic. And they change the size of this shaft, and when you're going to change the wash arms, you've got to change the axle because Hobart's change the thickness, and This whole outfit alone's about $600, so they're expensive. But that's how those manufacturers make their money. I do like Norris. Norris ones are actually made in Australia, and all this is all stainless steel with brass nozzles, so the heavy-duty brass actual mechanism in the as the bearings. I really like that construction, and it's just designed to be reliable and last. I think S-Wood, some S-Wood models are made in Australia too. That's a job that, I mean, no, I'm not under the pump for this one. I just said, when I got time, I can work on it too. No rush for that one here. But this one here, I got to get it fixed for this bloke. So he was going to sell it as a junker. So no, it's kind of too good to sell as a junker and scrap. I can fix it. Yeah, even this, the newer plastic models of these are not very good. But yeah, still a bloody good fridge. She's had a bit of a rough life, but I'm going to do a bit of panel beating on it and make it look pretty. Replace an interface board and go from there, because that pretty much is what talks to the whole unit. I think the Waco was the same. It's a little bit different to how that's wired. This would run without that. It would run constantly and just freeze constantly 24/7. That board there, if that board there is dead or doesn't work or is missing, it's not going to run. It's the same sort of thing with this Engel. Where that come from? Better put it aside. But yeah, we'll go from there. I'm confident that's the only thing wrong with it, because that's pretty much the brains of the whole unit. It's all in that board at the top, and that runs everything through the power supply. Has like a handshake. Yep, good to go. Bang, starts up, runs, does its thing. If this is dead, well, it can't run. So a legend in reliability. These are good fridges, but what you've got to be careful of, you can't leave them in the weather in the back of a heat on a 40 or 50 degree day. They don't like that. A fridge's job is to take energy out from inside and put it outside and keep it outside. So you put the refrigerant boils in there, boils cold, that boiling cold liquid sucks up energy, sucks the heat up, gets pumped outside with a compressor and pushes it outside and gets absorbed outside. So it takes it out of here and keeps the heat outside. That's all it does. The cooler it is outside and the surrounding area outside the fridge, the better it's going to run. The happier it'll be, the longer it's going to last. So you've got sitting this in the back of in the sun all the time, in a 40 degree day, it's going to fight like mad to keep in here as cold as possible, to keep heat out of it. And that of course cooks the compressor and is not going to do anything like that any good. I always recommend, try and, if you've got a unit with a canopy, put it inside or in the back seat if at all possible. If conveniently possible, put it inside the car. And when you're driving around with your AC on, even if your windows open a little bit, it'll be a much happier, better working fridge all around. But these compressors don't cook as easy. The Danfoss ones and the Wacos, they do cook, but these ones even harder to cook. The newer ones, the Chinese compressors, or even the one in this unit here, these Domos compressors, any Chinese compressor in a new fridge you buy now, nah, they don't like it, they just burn out straight away. They're very prone to burning out. So I've actually I've modified this one with an extra fan, and I usually leave the window open in the summertime to keep this thing happy. Heat is never a good thing. Anyway, let's go pay this guy a visit. Hopefully it's home. I would like to get this thing tackled today, if possible. Anyway. Okay viewers, I've got this board tested, it's fine. We've got it coated in clear coat. Replaced the burnt wiring on it. Here we've got Engel. Oh yeah, she works. -18. I can't see very good because the sun's blaring on it, so I've got to use the camera kind of as a redneck shader. So it doesn't look, for the video, it would look like crap. This customer is very lucky, because if this board here was completely buggered. We had to pay $400 to replace that. And if this was buggered, it's $600 or more dollars, so he's very lucky. The swing compressor, you can hear it swinging. But these are K3 units, are a nice system. Purple sticker on the K3 system, they're a very nice system, the best system Engel ever made. Starting to get heat rejection. This customer is very lucky. Starting here at the refrigerant boil. Starting to. And that sticker that goes over that's about $16, so I'll let him know wants to replace that or not. Prefer to get replaced because it's going to protect that board. And the fan's gone. That fan's completely buggered. I have to get a 24 volt fan for this. Boing. But these are a very nice compressor. I've got to test it on DC yet because sometimes I can blow a fuse, so make sure that bit works. Yeah, I can hear it boiling. Yeah, it's getting cold behind here. Let it run for a bit. 26 degrees Celsius. Set to -18. Let it go for a bit till it gets cold. That's just starting to be getting cold. I don't see why it would be leaking gas, or I can't see any compromise in the system. But I will check that though. That's where you're charging from. There's a bit difficult because the oil's down here. You have to make a thing that come up, and you know, you can run these at any angle. These compressors. You have like a pop that comes up. And then careful not to spit all that at you when you charge it, because these are normally charged upside down. Get a bit colder. Hopefully I can hear definitely a boiling. It's all coming off. There's no punches in the evaporator that I can see. But we've got to check these things. It's something to be aware of when it rattles in the back of you. These things can get rubbed through over time, so it's got to be very careful with having these sorts of fridges. It's not getting very cold at all. It's definitely refrigerant in it, but not getting cold. I reckon it could be low. This might be a challenge to investigate this one. I'll have to R152A convert this one then. If that's the case. I'm going to go for a bit longer. But that could be low on gas. This will have to be R152A converted, if that's the case. Alright, let it go for a bit longer. I suspect it could be low on charge. The fun part is find out how and why and whether the leak is. That's a fun part of refrigeration. Anyway, more on this Engel to come later. Thanks for watching. Okay viewers, I went back and looked over the notes I was sent by the owner of this fridge. He said it runs but doesn't get cold, but now it's this board's been repaired properly and the connectors are all fixed. It's going to be a good fridge now. Yeah, I confirm it runs. It didn't get much cold at all, so she was low on refrigerant. So I'm going to R152A it. I'm going to do some checks and let it run for a while and make sure she's not going to leak. Still some positive pressure in that, so that's a good thing. No air's been sucked into the system. Then we're going to suck it dry completely. Let it go for a while. Now this R152A can be used in blends, but I want to make it as pure as possible. The best practice is completely suck it down. There wasn't much pressure in here at all to begin with, as I melted the cord. Oops, I wasn't careful with my welding and brazing. Had that cut up can as a heat shield, but that cord must have been touching it somewhere. I'll have to fix that. Whoops. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, these Engel ones. Normally you've got to take the whole coiling unit out, sit on the table, have this sitting off the edge of the bench underneath and charge it that way. Nice oil. Had a good oil change. This compressor, some fresh POE oil in there. I'll keep going till there's bugger all positive pressure coming out of that. You want to suck it down hard. I'll put a good pressuriser of argon, which is argon inert gas, which is cheaper than nitrogen. Put about 200 psi in and leave it for a week or two, see if that holds. That's the best practice how I would normally do it. But since R152A is very cheap, has a minimal GWP, and it's sold as an air duster anyway, so I'll just use that and see if it holds that charge. And after just add it, and wait a can I suppose, and just guess it. And if I've added too much, well it's obviously going to have frost coming back into the compressor. I can just dump some out. There's no real data sheets online with this gas. There's no official data sheets when it comes to charging things with this gas. You kind of got to experiment and work out the best way to the system from a professional standpoint. But you can always add bit by bit by bit by bit as it's running. Keep in mind, I want to have pressure in there, have more pressure going in, because that's going to push oil out of that when it's sitting upright, and push oil out of the compressor, so that's something you've got to keep in mind. So you've only got R22, R14A, R134A, R404A, but there's no specific gauges for 152A or available, so it's just a niche refrigerant, which I quite like it. If hydrofluoric or olefin refrigerants were much cheaper, I'd buy them, but they're just too cost prohibitive. The best price I can find for 1234ZE for is a 250 gram can, and that's like $60 shipped here from the UK. So this is the cheapest option for me. You can see, let it go for a bit longer. Okay, viewers, on this part was getting a bit frosty, so I put a bit too much in there. Now it's just lukewarm. The top of it's a bit frosty on the top there. It stops about, the frost stops about there. It's about halfway down that pipe, the liquid line disappears. Yeah, I'm frosting one way up. There's still too much, as you can see there. That means there's too much in the system. Put got too much in there. Yeah, take some more out, I think. No one's ever used R152A in an Engel fridge, but this is the first time, so behaves well in the medium-riser systems and these old antique systems. Very similar pressures to R12 and R152A. I know the bloke I got this parts off, he uses our high chill -30 in these. It stops, goes and it stops and goes and it stops and goes and it stops. Could even be a tyre compressor too, maybe. Yeah, boy. Yeah, it could be a tyre compressor. The new compressor's about $400 for these things. There is spare compressors available, but yeah, it's all depends on the bloke, the person that fixed this for wants to spend that money on it or not. Stops and goes and stops and goes and stops and goes. I wonder if it's just tired. Possibly. I wonder. Let it run for a bit, I suppose. Celsius. Trying to use this fan because the original fan's buggered. There's no argument, the original fan was toast. So I have to use this fan for it. I've got heat rejection there. Makes a nice hum, that compressor. Anyway. Yeah, that should be cooling faster than that. Anyway, more to come. Thanks for watching.